Welcome to All Souls Virtual Church. This is the third Sunday in the social distancing era where we are having an empty sanctuary, but we are still worshiping together from wherever we are, coming together even as we're apart. This is a special day here at All Souls in Tulsa because it's the 99th birthday of All Souls. Every year, once a year, we celebrate Heritage Sunday on this Sunday closest to the birthday. And so today, happy birthday, All Souls. It is our 99th year. And our worship team's been working really hard from home all week to put together a really special service. So our music director, Rick Fortner, he went into the video archives and he found choral music and soloists and others from Heritage Sundays of the past. And he put that together into this service. So you're going to hear some beautiful music. You may even see yourself or someone you know in the pews in some of these video shots. So hope you enjoy that. Our religious exploration director, Shannon Boston, has put together a special message to children and families, and Reverend Barbara Prose has a short message. And then I've got something really important that I want to talk about regarding these uncertain times. And I got a little help from our minister emeritus, the late Reverend Dr. John Wolfe, who gave me a little assistance in this message. So stay tuned and let our service begin.
This is indeed a day to celebrate. Let us awaken to it and be glad, and let us count our many blessings. We are grateful for the capacity to see, to feel, to hear, and to understand. We are grateful for the incredible gift of life, and we are especially grateful for the ties of love which bind us together, giving dignity, meaning, worth, and joy to all our days. Would you please join with me now in saying the words of our covenant? Our covenant is a promise we make to each other in this congregation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Welcome to All Souls, where we love beyond belief.
Hello. My name is Shannon Boston. I'm your religious educator at All Souls Unitarian Church, and this is a really special week in the life of All Souls because we are turning 99 years old. We have been around for quite some time, not me personally, not even this building, but this community, and that is something really special to celebrate. We'd really hope to be together on this beautiful spring morning. We'd hope to have a picnic and games and a lovely lunch out on the lawn, but alas, that is not to be. But we are going to have a celebration of sorts on our own. I would love for you to take the time this week to do two things. First, I would like for you to think of a special memory, a special memory that has to do with All Souls. It can be a sermon or a class or a conversation, something over coffee, a party, a memorial service, offering a helping hand to someone, or maybe having one offered to you. Anything that happened here or as a result of being here, because that is what we are celebrating. That is community. That is the community of All Souls. The other thing I would like for you to do is to create a special treat, a dessert of some sort. For us, at the Boston household, my daughter Circe has made us a chocolate cake for the 99th birthday of All Souls. We will be celebrating in style. Happy birthday, 99. 99 years of community. Are you ready to sing the Tom Chapin happy birthday song?
Yes.
Excellent. Happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, and may all your dreams come true. When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go. Happy birthday, All Souls. We love you.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Well, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. You know, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. Well, you know, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. Oh, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. Well, you know, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. One more time, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. Well, I'm telling you, we who believe in freedom cannot rest.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom is not the title of that song we heard. Its title is Ella's Song. Written by Dr. Bernice Marie Johnson, it's a meditation or an anthem on the freedom fight, a freedom fight which has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. The song, celebrating Miss Ella Fitzgerald, continues with these words. That which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. This morning, I want to celebrate with you not just our 99th birthday, but a piece of that freedom fight which has been passed on to us from generation to generation. The fight for freedom is as old as time, and the flame has long been a symbol of the spirit of that fight. A flame has also long been a symbol of the spirit alive in each one of us, and in the world, a light that nothing, not even death, can extinguish. Because it's such a powerful symbol, it has been used in many religious traditions, in ceremonies and rituals, to mark life's trials and transitions, to transmit our prayers. In the Hindu festival of Diwali, candles burn, and observant Jews light Shabbat candles on Friday evenings. In our sanctuary, every Sunday, the candles on the chancel table are lit before worship begins, reminding us again and again of an eternal light and of our own inner light. This photo is of my installation last year on Heritage Sunday. This Heritage Sunday, I'm going to share the story of how the fight for freedom was passed down in our own faith tradition, and how a flame and a communion chalice became the symbol of our liberal religious faith. It happened during the Second World War, several years after the swastika became the symbol of the Nazi Party in Germany. A group of Unitarians came together in Boston, Massachusetts, and formed the Unitarian Service Committee. Their plan was to help people in Europe escape persecution, imprisonment, and death. There were thousands upon thousands of refugees. People were running away from their own countries and their own homes, seeking safety somewhere. Reverend Charles Joy, what a great name, was the first director of the new service committee. It was difficult and dangerous, and Reverend Joy and his assistants had to work with anyone who would give them money or help with transportation. But they were a new organization, not trusted yet, and people who were escaping often spoke a different language than the people who wanted to help them escape. Reverend Joy decided it would be really helpful if the service committee had an official symbol to help identify the organization and its members. Then it wouldn't matter if people couldn't read or understand the language. They would trust each other, and they could create official-looking paperwork to help people move across borders. He wanted the symbol to impress governments and police officers and officials, the people who had the power. Deutsch himself had escaped from the Nazis in Paris for drawing cartoons about the Nazis. Borrowing old symbols of strength and freedom, Deutsch drew a flame, a chalice with a flame. Reverend Joy described it as simple and distinctive. Adding the holy oil burning in it is a symbol of helpfulness and sacrifice. The Reverend Joy said that the new symbol seemed to show the real spirit of the Unitarian religion. It showed a chalice or cup that was used for giving a healing drink to others, and it showed a flame, a symbol of our spirit that can never die. The flaming chalice became the official symbol of the Unitarian Service Committee, and thousands were saved. In the 1970s, people started using the flaming chalice in Sunday morning worship services in their churches, and it has become the symbol of Unitarian Universalism around the world. One very old woman told how the flaming chalice helped her while she was in a Nazi prison camp. Under the picture of her flaming chalice was written in Czech, Pravda vítězí, which means truth overcomes or truth prevails. Every single morning in camp, she said she traced a picture of the flaming chalice in the sand with her finger. It gave me strength to live each day, she said. Whenever she drew the chalice in the sand, she was reminded that someday the world would remember the important truth that every single person is important and should be free to think and believe as he or she, as they choose. So this morning, I'm going to light a chalice for all of us. Whatever you have at home is good enough. This is a bowl I bought at our Hungry Bowls dinner. So one of the children in our church made it. Next week, we'll light a chalice at the beginning of the service and extinguish it at the end of the service. We'll do this together as long as we are having virtual worship, as long as we can't be in the sanctuary together. May this ritual remind us of the ongoing fight for freedom and remind us of how resilient our ancestors were. May they inspire us today to be as strong and as giving as they were. Reverend Joy was also known for translating the writing of Dr. Albert Schweitzer. So I'd like to close today with a few words from Dr. Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. May we continue to kindle light and hope in each other's lives. May it be so.
Bring, O past your honor, bring, O time your harvest, golden sheaves of hallowed light and light by truth make free. Come, you faithful spirits, builders of this temple, to holiness, to love and liberty. Shrine of frontier courage, Sinai of his vision, old and north of common quest for life's immortal good. Standing years on coming, sentinel of conscience, pass through the past, your stalwart walls have stood. Church of pure reformers, pioneers undaunted, company of comrades sworn to keep the spirit free. O Lord, thy swift river, preach eternal gospel, faith, hope, and love for
As the song said, we are a community of pioneers undaunted who have sworn our lives to the free spirit. In that sense, let us join together in meditation and prayer. And following our prayer, we will have a short video montage of a member who died, unfortunately, this week. Miss Julia Richardson, a longtime usher of our congregation who greeted everybody at the door with a hug. Beautiful woman who we will miss greatly. And since we couldn't be with her as she died, since it's such a hard time, you can't be with somebody and you can't celebrate their life in community and come together, and we have to wait on that. We wanted to do something special for her today. So be looking for that. And now let us join in meditation and prayer. Holy One, we lift up our gratitude on this 99th birthday of All Souls for all those people who've come before, the leaders and the members and everybody who has made this church what it is, who've passed down the light of hope and love and justice for all across the generations here in Tulsa and beyond. We are thankful for the work that they did and the sacrifices that they made. And today we're especially thinking of all those who are struggling with the coronavirus and those who have it, those who are afraid they're going to get it, those who have lost loved ones to it all around the world. Our hearts go out in our prayers to all the caregivers, the doctors and the hospital workers, and everybody who are doing essential jobs, whether it's in a grocery store or a delivery person, all those who are making our lives possible and helping to keep us all safe. Every one of us is being asked to be a hero in this time, and so we lift up everyone for the sacrifices they're making and for the ways in which we're being asked to be restraining ourselves and the self-control. Let us be strong in our efforts and let us pull together even as we are quite far apart. Amen.
I've always greeted or ushered in whatever church I've been in, or done one or the other, or done both, and it's just special because God teaches you that you can't give without receiving. I bet you I can't hug you without you hugging me back. So if you hug somebody, they're gonna hug you back.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing. Yeah, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place.
Welcome into my living room. Isn't this interesting that in our third week of virtual church, where everything's happening online, and the first week where we're bringing our messages from our homes because of the idea of sheltering in place, we have these moments where we are using technology and we're kind of coming into each other's homes. I've been seeing on Zoom meetings different people's pets, their cats and dogs, and the artwork that they have in their home. You can see behind me the way I decorate my living room, or our living room, with some of the things that I brought back from my 2 years of living in Japan in my early 20s. And so also thank you for welcoming me into your private space, wherever you are watching this. So here we are in this unusual, unprecedented time, and we are finding new ways to connect, and in some ways finding that we're closer in some ways by, as I said, being in each other's private space in these new ways. So I want to think about other ways that in these uncertain, troubling, painful times, we're also having new awakenings and new opportunities. I want to share with you a poem from my colleague, the Reverend Lynn Unger, who has been writing some phenomenal poetry through this time. She's always been a great poet, but these couple poems she's written during this time have really blown me away. This one I wanted to share is called Imagine. Imagine for a moment, don't worry, I'm not saying it's real. Imagine if you can that there has been not a calamity, but a great awakening. Pretend just for a moment that we all so loved our threatened earth that we stopped going on cruises, limited international flights, worked on cherishing the places where we already are. In this pretty fantasy, everyone who possibly can stopped commuting, spends the extra time with their kids and pets and gardens. We have the revelation that everyone needs health care, sick leave, steady work. It occurs to us that healthcare workers are heroes. Also, teachers, not to mention the artists of all kinds who teach us resilience and joy. Imagine, if you will, that we turned to our neighbors in mutual aid, trading eggs for milk, checking in on those who are elderly or alone. Imagine that each of us felt suddenly called to wonder. In this moment, what does the world need from me? What are my gifts? Yes, I know it's just a fantasy. The world would never change so radically overnight. But imagine. So here we are. In this moment, feels like we fell down a rabbit hole, or we're living in some episode of the Twilight Zone. And yet, this is real. Now, when we talk about what's real, we think about truth and what is the truth. And some people think we're living in a post-truth era, the era of truthiness, where what's true and what's a lie often depends on your perspective or your political persuasion. But we need truth in a time like this. A. Paul Davies said that the world is too dangerous for anything other than truth. Now, I don't want to go into a big philosophical discussion about truth from various philosophies. I want to talk about scientific truth, because this is a time when we have to trust the scientists and the doctors. I know not everybody is wanting to do that in this time, but it looks like most of us recognize that scientific truth is what we need to lean in on in a time like this. So, what do we think about scientific truth as a way to orient our religious lives? It's something that Unitarian Universalists have considered a critical way of knowing our world and knowing what's real is the scientific method. And yet, science and reality often are filled with some cold, hard facts. And cold, hard facts are not always the easiest thing upon which to build one's life and spiritual life. We need more than science, even as science is what we need at a time like this. The grief that people are going through, the losses and the deaths, and even the fact that people are dying and their families can't even be with them, hold their hands, surround them, sing to them, hold them. It's been happening. I mentioned earlier about Julia Richardson. Fortunately, one person was able to get in, Carmen Yannick, and she was just an angel and took some risks and covered herself up, but went in and at least did not let Julia be alone at the time of her passing. Many people have heard now that our executive director of worship, Pastor David Smith, his father, just passed away this week. And it was the same situation in that he was in the hospital and they would not let the family come in. And so they couldn't be with him. This is the cold, hard facts of life. And as I was thinking about this message and thinking about our 99th birthday or anniversary of All Souls as we celebrate today on Heritage Sunday each year, the Sunday closest to our anniversary, I went back to see if any of my predecessors had something to say that would help us in these times. And I found a sermon by the late Reverend Dr. John Burton Wolfe, our minister emeritus for so many years. And it was a sermon that he preached on October 5th, 1969. And it was titled, A Faith for Uncertain Times. And in it, he talked about the way that we have a faith tradition. Many of us have given up on the religious ways that we have come to see as fake or false or charades or filled with mistruths or superstition. And yet, when we are staring reality in the face, it can be really difficult. He asks why. Why is it so difficult? And he said, because often reality, I think he pretty much said, reality always doesn't turn out the way we expect it or want it to. He said, look at almost any experience. When you're young, you want to be old. And then you get old, and doesn't quite work out the way, it's not all that it was cracked up to be, is it? We get married, and we're looking forward to living happily ever after. And yet, is that how your marriage has turned out? Exactly as you expected it? You put on the uniform and you go to serve your country in glory, or you become a lawyer and you pass the bar and you're ready to go into the courts to be a proponent of justice, or you become a teacher or a doctor or a nurse. Like in these times, it's not what you wanted or expected. So much of life turns out that way, and when it does, we need our imagination. We are creatures that need more than just the facts, more than just science, but we're creatures that dream. We're creatures that imagine, and we have yearnings and longings. I was thinking this week about Anne Frank. Here we are, held up in our homes, and so it just popped into my head how Anne Frank, who when she was a young girl was hidden away in a house with her parents in Amsterdam because they were Jews and they were hiding from the Gestapo. And she spent years there, and all she had was a little window onto the world. But that became her window into wonder. And she wrote all of these beautiful things in her journal before her family was ultimately captured. And what's left is that wonder, that part of herself that, in spite of all that she was going through, was able to, from that little shell where she was held up, she was able to explore and experience the world in an incredible way. And so her words and her wonderings and reflections have lasted a lot longer than her murder in a concentration camp by the Nazis. And that's so much of what life is. It's about taking the disappointments and finding ways to turn them into something more, some new possibility. And that's the situation that we find ourselves in. I've been trying to take walks out in nature whenever I can to get out of the house and keep my distance from other people. And there have been some really neat moments of wonder and nature in all of that. I was walking with my daughter and my wife the other day, just at dusk as the sun was setting, and a huge bird came. My daughter said, "It's an owl." And then we saw this beautiful owl just pass right over our heads. And it was really special, a special moment that we shared. And I was walking down by the river a couple of days ago with Reverend Barbara Prose. We took our morning meeting. We've been Zooming and in these meetings in our offices at home for so long. We said, let's just walk along the river. We'll stay far apart and we'll talk over what we need to discuss. And while we were walking, a bald eagle came flying over. We were on the Arkansas River, and this bald eagle came flying over. We said, wow, look at that. And then it turned around and it came back and it landed on a tree right there where we were. And if technology works well, you're seeing a picture of that bald eagle right now. Here we are. I'm walking through in Tulsa. The blossoms are blooming, the red buds and the dogwoods and the cherry blossoms. My God, and everything's blooming. The daffodils, and it seems that they don't know that we're in the midst of a worldwide, international health pandemic. They don't know that people have been laid off, millions of people out of work, and all those things. The blossoms keep blooming, and the Old Man River keeps flowing. The birds keep singing. But there's something about us as human beings that have this need for something more because of our imagination, our consciousness, our understanding that we are alive and that we are going to die, and the people we love are as well. We have to face reality. That's what our religion tells us to do. It's not a religion of escape. It's not a religion of fantasy. It's a religion that says we're going to face reality for whatever it is. It was Henry David Thoreau who said, I want to suck all the marrow out of the bones of life. If it's delicious and tasty, I want to write about it to the world. But if it's nasty and harsh, I want to write about its meanness. I want to know what life is before I die. That's the kind of faith that we have at All Souls and in Unitarian Universalism. And so we face reality, but then we need something more. We find some of that blessing in each other, which is, again, a challenge in a time of social distancing. We find it in nature, and we make meaning of our lives. When that eagle came flying and landed, I was thinking about the native peoples of this land, and I was thinking how they would have seen that as a sign of something. And I felt that. We both looked at each other, Barbara and I, and said, yeah, it's a good sign, a good omen, if you will, in these times to get that close to a bald eagle and have it land right near us. So it gave us a little hope. I think we're looking for ways to be hopeful and things that are signs that the world will be good again and our economy will come back and we will survive this. But as we do, I want us to really think about what's your window into this world? How is this new way of being causing you to think differently about your life? And how are you going to, at this time when we can't go outside so much, let's go inside and figure out what is it that I yearn for? What is it that I dream about? What is it that I imagine for myself, for my life, for my family, for my children, for our world, for this country of ours? We have an opportunity, as Lynn Unger said so beautifully in her poem, to imagine a different way of being. Who would have thought we'd be in a situation like this right now? But let's not waste a crisis. Let's make the most of it. Let's find ways to learn and grow and discover things about ourselves that we couldn't have discovered otherwise. From where I sit, this is exactly the kind of faith that we need in a time like this. And I'm glad to have this faith with you, even if it does get broadcasted from my living room or wherever. We are carrying on a tradition of the free spirit. And we are carrying on a tradition of people who say we're going to look reality in the face. We're not going to try to dress it up with wishful thinking or magical thinking or political agendas and other things, but we're going to see it for what it is, face it for what it is, and out of that find new possibilities and imagine new ways of living in this world. I look forward to doing that with you during this time and also after we get through that. I just want you to know that I want you to stay safe, and I want you to know I love you. I love you beyond belief.
As you know, normally we give away our offering to organizations in our community doing good works in the world. This Sunday, our offering will go to All Souls. Please help us support our part-time and full-time staff as we make this transition to virtual worship and virtual programming. You can mail a check into All Souls Unitarian Church, 2952 Peoria Ave, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74105, or you can text 73256. Those are the numbers to enter. And the message to text is Love Beyond Belief. Those letters are LOVEBB. Thank you so very much.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Let me hear you, come on. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never never turning back. Put your hands together, come on. Gonna keep on moving forward. Everybody, keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Keep on moving proudly. We're gonna keep on moving proudly. Proudly, come on. Keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Keep on singing loudly. We're gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Let me hear you now. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back.
We have 3 virtual small group experiences ready for you to try today. One at 11:30, the next one at 1, and the last one at 3 o'clock. Those are all Central Standard Time. Please go to our website for more information about how to sign up or how to click on the link. These are all Zoom, facilitated by Zoom. We hope you'll join us. On the website, you'll also find information for all of the virtual programming we're offering this week. Please reach out to us if you are feeling lonely, if you need something, if you're feeling a little anxious or depressed. We are continuing to offer pastoral care. We're calling our members. We're making new friends, which makes us very happy. It's time now to extinguish our chalice. So we will extinguish this flame, but never the fire of commitment, the light of truth, or the warmth of community. These we will carry with us until we gather again. We are family. That's what I've been thinking the whole time up here. We are chosen family. We are family dancing and playing and praying and laughing and crying and living and loving our way together towards more freedom and more hope and more love and more justice. And there's nobody in the world that I would rather do all this with than each and every one of you. This is an amazing place, and the world needs this energy and this love out there, right? Okay. So bring your beautiful selves out into the world with all this love. Meet the day with courage. Find the strength you need. Know that you are worthy. Truth exists, and love is real. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly. Let love beyond belief surround you, lift you up, and set all of us free. Yeah. You are blessed, and you are a blessing. Thank you so, so much. You ready to dance?
Yeah. All right now. Here we go, here we go, here we go. All right now.